I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today, and I would like to, Senator Collins and I are honored to be standing alongside parents of special needs children who are fighting to get an appropriate education that best fits their individual needs. The equal opportunity for students with special needs legislation passed the House and Senate on February 13th with bipartisan support. These bills would allow public school parents of students with special needs to receive scholarships to pay for specialized school, therapists, tutors, curriculum, and other educational expenses. The parents you see here today reached out to us after the bills passed because they see it as a possible solution or opportunity for their children to get what they need in education. It is my honor to turn it over to these courageous parents who have traveled from all over our state to share their stories. I'm pleased to introduce our first parent, Nancy Gummels.
Hi, it's Natalie. Hey, thank you. My name is Natalie Gunnels, and I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi. My son Patrick is in the 8th grade. He has a rare genetic disorder commonly referred to as Crete-Shaw. Patrick's genetic disorder also includes autistic-like characteristics such as hypersensitivity to sound. He is also impaired physically with an unsteady gait, which results in frequent falling. We use an adult stroller to decrease falls and lessen his burden in walking. Because of his condition, it is terrifying for him to walk to where he's dropped off at school to his classroom. Many mornings, Patrick would collapse in front of the school building because of sensory overload of sounds. We pleaded with his teacher to let him ride in his adult stroller to his classroom, but she only said, if he can walk, he will walk. We called the assistant superintendent, to no avail. We begged them to watch the video footage from their own video cameras in front of the school. It was only when my husband began to videotape himself, my son collapsing, and the teacher and his aide walking away from him and sending him home, did we finally get some answers. But our struggle is ongoing. One day a substitute teacher called me in tears explaining that my son had been left restrained in this adult stroller all day, pushed into a corner, and the teacher had left him no lesson plans, no activities, and his aide talked on his phone all day. I support the Equal Opportunity for All Students with Special Needs bill because it would help us to afford an appropriate learning environment for our son, whose experience in his current setting is less than acceptable. No student should have to fear going to school every day. Every child has the right to a quality education in a least restrictive, nurturing environment. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Deborah Dye from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and I have 2 sons that have been diagnosed with dyslexia. It's a learning disability that cannot be seen in my child, and it cannot be outgrown. My oldest is a 6th grader who has attended a special purpose school for about a year now with amazing results. He can now read and write above grade level as opposed to below grade level where he was performing when he was in public schools. My 3rd grader is currently in public school where we have been told that dyslexia is not recognized, and because he is not failing, he cannot receive special services. I should not have to risk his confidence and his enjoyment of school before he can move ahead in the proper learning environment that is due to him. I support the Equal Opportunity for All Students with Special Needs Act, a bill that would allow us to use funds to aid in the cost of sending my child to a school that will meet his unique needs in the way he deserves. I would like to end with a quote from my oldest son that was on a card he sent to his grandparents after he started receiving the education that is appropriate to him. I used to hate reading, but now I love to read. I used to hate school, but now I like school. I used to get bad grades, but now I get better grades. I ask you today, how can you deny any child this kind of success? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie McHouston. This is my husband, John McHouston. We are from Tupelo, Mississippi. Our son is in 1st grade. He has an IEP that labels him with SLD, Specific Learning Disability. I have called meetings with the school to discuss Ian's educational progress. It was evident my child's needs were not properly understood or being met. Just last week, I came to pick Ian up at school for a vision therapy, and and saw that he was taking a test alone while his classmates were having fun and making a lot of noise listening to a fun guest speaker. Not only was he left out, but his specific accommodations in his IEP with test taking were not being met, but were being completely ignored. If you have a child or loved one who does not fit the traditional educational mold, you know it can take a toll on all aspects of their lives. Some of my friends with children with special needs vomit during the school day out of anxiety. Another found their little girl curled up under her covers at night with a flashlight, forcing herself to read so that she can sit with the smart girls at school during the reading hour. She's a first grader. All my husband and I ask is the freedom to take the education money that is attached to our son and use it where his needs can be met. We already know he's a success. We just want him to feel the same way. The right learning environment will make all the difference for him emotionally, physically, and academically. Thank you.
We have another parent that wanted to be here today but was unable to attend, and she asked me that I read a quote from her. My name is Carlisha Henderson, and I'm from Olive Branch, Mississippi. My son is Donovan. He has autism and a secondary diagnosis of pediatric autosomal pediatric disorder associated with a strep infection and severe speech delay. My son's IEP requires him to receive a number of services, including speech therapy. I was discouraged to learn at a recent IEP meeting that the speech therapist never saw my son, despite the fact that the school had been reporting that he had been receiving those services. I can't be lied to another year. This bill would allow me to use funds to send my son to a school that would better accommodate his needs.
Thank you all for sharing your stories. We have some other families here who, through great sacrifices, have put their children into different learning environments for their child's unique needs. They are here today to show support for this bill, even though they don't qualify, because it's taken us as legislators too long to do something for them. They are here today because they believe children desire and deserve to have equal opportunity. I would encourage you to speak with them after the press conference, and I am very privileged to introduce Ken, who would like to share how a different learning environment helped his son have a meaningful and productive life. Ken.
Hi, my name is Ken Bartosik. I'm the father of Nathan Bartosik, who is currently a junior at Mississippi State University, majoring in forestry and wildlife management. My son has Tourette syndrome and obsessive-compulsive disorder. We were told by the Clinton Public Schools that they couldn't serve him, and we fought. We fought the good fight. We got him placed at New Summit School, which is right here in Jackson. And at New Summit, he flourished. He had friends like he'd never had before. He started getting good grades. He became a leader among his peers. My wife, who's a special ed teacher, and I decided that that's where he needed to be, so we fought for that. New Summit was a perfect fit for my son, and that's what it takes. It takes sometimes taking your child and putting them where they can get the services they need, and this money would have helped us to do that a lot sooner than we could have, than we did. I strongly urge you to fight for the passage of this. These parents need this. These children need this. It's not about the parents, it's about the children, and they need to be educated appropriately. And this will be a big step towards educating our children appropriately. Just talk to people, learn about it, and support it. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out today to hear from these parents. Our desire is to give them hope. The parents will be meeting today from lawmakers from both houses to express their support for this bill. They will be speaking today at 1 o'clock at a special joint Senate and House Education Committee meeting and hearing in room 409. We encourage you to come.